Today I'm going to show you how to make Sanbeiji, or 3 cups chicken. Now the essential ingredients in 3 cups chicken are a cup of 3 different ingredients. So basically we have some yellow wine. I have here some Shaoxing yellow wine. It's supposed to be the best yellow wine in China, so we're going to go with that. Then I have some soy sauce. We're going to need a cup of soy sauce. Want to use a dark soy sauce because we're going to be roasting something, so Japanese soy sauce would be good, or if you have Chinese, a dark Chinese soy sauce. The 3rd cup will be from sesame oil. Now, if you think about a cup, a whole cup, that would make a very, very large pot, or we would end up with soup. So I'm gonna think about maybe about a 1/3 of a cup when I'm making mine, because I don't want to cook it for too long. However much liquid we put in, we're going to have to eventually get most of it to come out. So the more we initially put in, the longer this will take to cook. Alright, now in addition to our 3 liquids, I'm going to have a little bit of red pepper. Going to have some chicken. I've marinated this in 2 spoonfuls of yellow wine and 2 spoonfuls of sesame oil. Ideally, I would want the chicken to be thigh meat, boneless thighs, but I don't have boneless thighs, I have boneless breasts, so I'm going to use boneless breasts. The dark meat would be a little bit heavier, a little bit fattier, and it would give you more flavor. In terms of vegetables, we're going to want some ginger in big pieces so we can avoid it later. Garlic, I've kept these in fairly large pieces because we want this to soak up some of the flavor. A green onion, separated a little bit into the whiter bits and the greener bits, and then some basil, lots of basil. Now, there are 2 types of basil that are acceptable. This is called Thai basil or sweet basil. You can notice it's a little rough and it has a purple stem. It's stronger and it lasts longer and it's cheaper. And then we also have Italian basil, and Italian basil has a green stem and it's more delicate. It won't last as long. It's a little bit more expensive. I'm going to use both because I really like basil. Then we also have ordinary sugar. Just a little bit of ordinary sugar to sweeten up the dish at the end. Alright, so first things first, we want to get our pan a little hot and we want to get some sesame oil into the pan. Now I said I'm going to use a 1/3 of a cup of each, which is my basic plan. If I want to add more, I'll add more of everything later, but I think the crucial thing is to have equal amounts of the 3 liquids. So I'm going to go for a 1/3 of a cup. Now sesame oil, unlike vegetable oils, will smoke at a very low temperature. You don't want it to smoke. So looking at it, it looks like it's fairly hot. I'm going to put the ginger in first and see how that does. In the meantime, I'm going to destem my basil. I just want the leaves. The leaves have all the flavor. Now that our ginger is doing well, I'm going to put our chicken in. Just get that nice and in. Turn this up. We're going to want to brown the chicken as normal. This will take a little while to get it brown, but just keep stirring it around. Now that our chicken is all browned, we've got no pink bits in here. It's all has a nice sear on the outside. We want to add the garlic and the white bits of the onion, not the green bits yet, just the white bits. And then I'm going to add a little bit of red pepper. Again, it's to taste how much red pepper you like. I think that's good for me. And then I'm also going to add a few little red chilies just for color, because the red pepper will not show. The red pepper will be completely absorbed by the sauce. Alright. Fry this for a little while. And add the soy sauce. I have a quarter of a cup. Now we have a bit of a soup in here now. We don't really have a nice stir fry going on, which is actually what we want. What we want is to set up what is called a braise. We're going to have the liquids inside of here evaporate, come up to the top, and then we're going to put a top over it, and the liquids are then going to rain down. So I think that this is looking good. So what we want to do is add a little bit more of the onion and a little bit of the basil, not all. Most of the basil is going to go in at the very, very end. And then we want to add our Shaoxing yellow wine. Add this in. Mine says cooking, so do not drink it. If it was the nicer stuff, you could sit here and drink it if you actually like yellow wine. I've had quite a lot of it, and even the good stuff I do not like. Alright. Now to start off our braise, we have a lot of liquid in here, but we want to cook it down. So we're going to turn it way, way down. Put a top on it. Now inside you have the evaporation process. It hits the top, which is cooler, and then rains down. And this will slowly happen. Now, because it's on the stove, eventually you're going to burn stuff on the bottom. So you should check it. If you have a lot of liquid like I do, then you could say leave it for 10 minutes. Come back. 5 minutes after that. Then 2 minutes, then 1 minute, and then finally when you really just want to, when you have very little liquid left, you're getting into a thick sauce, then you want to sit there and stir it for a minute or two before it goes away. If you want to eat it now, then turn the heat up, uncover, and cook it until all the liquid evaporates. Now, another way to do this, and maybe a better way to do this, is to get it off the stove. If you don't want it to be on the stove, you could put it in the oven. Okay, now, I have the oven preheat to 290 degrees. I wouldn't put it much hotter than that. Maybe if you have dark meat, you can go up to 300. Open it up, put the whole pot inside the oven, and then we're going to let it sit in there for about half an hour. And when we're done, it should have condensed down into a nice, thick brown sauce. If it's not done, you're ready to eat, we can put it back on top of the stove and evaporate any extra liquid. Enjoy! Okay, so the last things that you want to do when you take this out are going to be to add the rest of the onion, if you have any left, the basil, all of the basil that you have left, stir it around a little bit, and then you're going to want to add some sugar. Just a little bit of sugar to sweeten up that rich brown sauce that we're going to have. Alright, now it's been actually about 45 minutes, but I have a lot of chicken in here, so I wanted to braise it extra long. Take it out. Remember, you're going to need a pot holder to operate it. And we still have a lot of sauce left, but the chicken has gotten a nice darker brown. This is still hot. Now I want to throw in the rest of the onion and the basil. Throw it all in. And stir it in. Going to return it to heat, and we're going to evaporate most of this sauce. Just put it on high heat. As long as you stir it, it will be fine. And then I wanted to add a little bit of sugar, so I'm going to add a little bit of sugar. Make sure that I don't dump it all in there. About a spoonful or so of sugar is good. Maybe a smaller spoonful, but it depends on your taste. If you like really, really sweet Sanbeiji, then you can do more. If you are like me and you just like a little bit of sweetness in there. Okay, and as you can see, now that I've had this up at temperature, it's really evaporating very quickly. There's a lot less liquid than there used to be. And the sauce is thickening up very, very quickly. And the leaves, the basil leaves I've been putting in there, are all wilted and cooked. But if you look, you see some of the basil leaves have been cooked down because I cooked those. I braised them for a long time. They aren't pretty. The green ones are the ones that I just put in a few seconds ago, and they're much more beautiful. All in all, I think it would be better if I'd used dark meat and maybe more basil. Even, I mean, I used a lot of basil, but this is a lot of chicken. That is Sanbeiji. Enjoy.